Test, 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 test. This is a test. How do I get some feedback? What's going on? All right, let's see here. Try to refresh.
We love the internet, but the internet is tracking everything you do. With IP Vanish on your device, your internet activity is encrypted. No one can see what you're doing. Your location, your connection, completely hidden. Protect your internet privacy today with IP Vanish.
All right, let's give everyone a few moments to join. Looks like there's a little bit of lag going on here.
We love the internet, but the internet is tracking everything.
All right, I'm going to give everyone a few minutes to join. Looks like there's about a 30-second to a minute lag going on. Let me know when you guys can actually hear me. Post over in the chat on the side so I know I can get started. Looks like it's about a 30-second to a minute lag going on. Let me know when you guys can actually hear me. Post over in the chat on the side. All right. So we got about 8 people joined so far. Let's give everyone another minute or two and I'll get started. If anyone has questions, feel free to post them in the chat on the side and I will queue them up to be answered. I'm going to see if I can do something about the stream as well. Why is it giving ads? All right, let's get it started. There's about 8 of you guys here. It's now 9:03, so I'll get it started. I have a few questions already queued up from a couple of people that have asked me to answer some things for them already. So let me kill this screen here. All right. Let's get it started. There's about 8 of you guys here. It's now 9:03, so I'll get it started. I have a few questions already queued up from a couple of people that have asked me to answer some things for them already. All right. So the first question I have here is update on the GXPN. What I've done, where I'm at with this. So the GXPN is now complete. I passed this last Friday, I believe it was. The exam is 3 hours long. I took all 3 hours to basically pass the exam. I was taking the exam up to the last few seconds of the exam. The last few questions of the exam are hands-on technical questions. We actually doing buffer overflows and buffer bypasses, which some of them had some issues with the virtual machines working. So there were some delays in that sense. I was able to get through that. Once I got through that, I was able to get through the exam and actually pass that exam. As far as how hard that exam is, I will say if you are taking the GXPN, it's nowhere as I would say the OSCP is much easier than the GXPN. I originally took the GXPN thinking it would be like a value add to the OSCP in the sense of like helping me to pass OSCP. The material in the GXPN is probably more aligned with the OSCE from what I heard, with some of the buffers and the testing and that methodology and nature. You go into a lot of ROP, a lot of assembly language, things like that through this exam. A lot of network-based attacks, which was the easiest part of the class. The hardest part definitely being going through the assembly language, understanding assembly from scratch. I would say if you're not good at Python for this exam, definitely go out and learn Python. If any of you guys are on the OSCP chat room, the Facebook page, or if any of you guys know Christy Vlad, check out his online Python class through Udemy. He has it up there right now. I think it's $69 to take that class. There's other free courses out there as well. But I just recently took Christy's class. He offered me a free demo of the class, and it really lines up with the GXPN material really well. And really adds a lot of value to where SANS basically just gives you a high level. He really broke that information out for me. I've been doing Python now for a while, so it's definitely a great refresher, helpful to get a lot of the basics down pat. But yeah, so thank you guys for the congrats on the GXPN. I do plan to start coming out with some more videos around the material in the GXPN as far as like buffer overflows go and things like that. I've kind of taken a couple of weeks off after I passed the GXPN. I was kind of burnt out. I basically went from doing the OCP as well as studying the GXPN, and basically I've been doing that since before Christmas, so like around November timeframe, and really not having any time to myself or really to my family to focus on them. So I kind of took the last 3 weeks. We've been doing a lot of travel with the family, taking some vacations and things like that. If you guys have any questions, as I said, feel free to post them over here in the chat room area. The next thing I get asked a lot lately is a lot of people I see posting the OSCP chat room. I'm just starting my OSCP. What should I do, right? If you guys are just starting your OSCP, the thing I mention all the time, every single time I see this question posted, is basically to read the book, watch the video, do the exercise, and then document the exercise. If you don't go through that process, you're going to kick yourself in the butt later for it. You're going to notice that there's a lot of information that you missed. What I've learned is almost every single chapter you study in the OSCP ties to a vulnerable machine in your lab. So as you go through those exercises, 9 out of 10 of your exercises, or most of the exercises out of the 18 exercises or so you have to do, you're going to find at least 1 to 2 vulnerable machines per chapter that you read to exploit in the labs. So make sure if you're not doing that now that you do go ahead and do that. And let me give this a second, see where we are in the beginning. Studying the ties to a vulnerable machine in your lab. So as you go through those exercises, 9 out of 10 of your exercises, or most of the exercises out of the 18 exercises you say you do, you're going to find at least 1 to 2 vulnerable machines per chapter that you read to exploit in the labs. So make sure if you're not doing that now, that you do go ahead and do that. All right. So the third question I'm getting a lot too is there such things as information security mentors to help people get jobs and learn? While there is such things as information security mentors, it really depends on the person you're asking to mentor you. It puts a lot of responsibility on the person that you're asking to mentor, because that person is going to have to invest time into you. You're going to have to show some type of want, some type of desire to really make great use of that person's time, and really set up a plan with them to decide how you want to go about getting mentored, or what you need to be mentored in. I've seen people ask me questions from basically blatantly asking me the answers of the exam or for a lab, to saying, hey, I went out to Google, I did XYZ, I researched this, I tried that. Can you help guide me, or can you mentor me in what am I missing so I can better understand this methodology for attacks? that's someone that is interested in being mentored. If you're only interested in the answer, then you're not interested in being mentored. That being said, there are definitely a lot of information security people out there that are willing to mentor people. How that happens, I think it really depends on the person that wants to mentor. If they have the time, the energy, the resources to help that person. Personally, I have mentored a few people locally. I don't think I would be good at long distance mentoring because of difference in cultures, difference in languages, as well as differences in job markets and things like that. What I know works here may not work for you overseas. That being said, feel free to still reach out to me and ask me questions if you have any, and I will try to answer them as time permits. And if they're answerable, right? If you're asking me answers, you're not going to get the answer. Sorry. Let's see here. The fourth question I got brought up to me is, how did I get into information security? And I haven't always been in information security. Early on, I actually went to school for hotel restaurant management at Johnson Wales University. And after my associate's degree, I actually got out of school and I went to go work at a local hotel. And people off the street were making more money than me at the time, and it just wasn't for me. I like the travel, I like talking to people, I like meeting new people, but just dealing with the type of people I was seeing on a day-to-day basis, it really kind of rubbed me the wrong way and kind of destroyed my love of that industry. So I decided to go back to school for information science with concentration in networking. Our school was great because a lot of the credits I got in my hotel industry, like all my base credits, my math, my reading, stuff like that, was able to be carried over to my bachelor's degree, allowing me to still graduate within a 4-year time frame. Once I graduated from there, I started off like most people back then did in basic system administration, networking, things like that. And I kind of worked my way up after a few years into security roles. I remember my first security role was more kind of like a system admin role / security. And at the time, what was I doing? I was basically controlling the email servers, the antivirus, setting up the firewalls and things like that for a small company out of Massachusetts. I don't even know if they're still around anymore. But with that company, I got to do a lot of great traveling, spend some time in Alaska and things like that. When I was getting ready to leave that company, I was looking to move closer to Pennsylvania at the time, and started looking at other places that had security roles. Before I moved into Pennsylvania, I took a job as a local SOC person, working in a SOC on firewalls, IPS, IDS, systems like that, really learning the basics of all the defenses out there that could be applied at a later date and time towards the security side, the hacking side of the house. After that, I moved down to Pennsylvania, where I took a couple other roles in different security practices, eventually building up my background into where I am today with pen testing and red teaming. And I've been pretty much doing, I think I'm going to seize, been pretty much doing pen testing and red teaming now for probably, man, it's been a long time. Probably 12 to 13 years I've been doing security testing now. I spent about 7 years at the local hospital doing this work. Went over to one large pharmaceutical for 4 years there, so that's 11. After that, I jumped over to another pharmaceutical company for a year. Spent almost a year there, 6 months, and I've been at my current job now for about a year doing the testing in an official manner. So that's how I got into information security. Along the way, I paid for several certifications out of my pocket. I paid for the CSP myself. Anytime you guys are looking for a new job, talk to the managers, talk to the people, see what they are willing to do for you to better yourself. Because by bettering yourself, you're also bettering that company. One thing I always look for is make sure that the companies are willing to pay for some type of security training a year or conferences, things like that. So make sure you guys get that out early on in your conversations with your managers and things like that, or part of your bargaining or your negotiation, that you get that put in there, that you get some type of training each year. For a few years, I did a lot of Black Hats training and DEF CON. It's great to get out there. You do a black hat for a week. You do the training during the week. You meet with your vendors, all of the people you normally work with, the products you buy, learn about new products, and then basically you can go enjoy DEF CON, which is kind of like black hat but more open and a little bit crazier, less professional. So that's been something I've done a few years. A lot of SANS trainings. SANS is great if your company pays for SANS. SANS is very expensive. You're looking at anywhere between $6,000 to $10,000 for a class, plus travel, plus hotel, food, everything like that. So it does add up in budgets. Also with SANS, you have to renew them every 4 years, so that kind of gets expensive as well. See what else is out there. I also have done across the OSCP now. I am thinking about doing the OSCE possibly next year, and if I do, I will do a path to OSCE as well, and get that posted. I am also contemplating the new one, the web exploit, the advanced web exploits. Though after hearing that it's a 48-hour long test, I'm kind of on the fence about that one. I'm a little worried about how long that would take. Let's see here. Why do I tell people to remove manuals from word lists? So a lot of times lately, I see people saying that they are running a scan, and these scans are taking forever. They're not finding what they want. They're getting blocked. And I see manuals are not the only thing that should be removed. You should really clean up your word list and understand your word list before using a word list. But if you want to save some time on your word list, the easiest way to do this is remove manuals. And the reason I say this is if you're scanning an Apache server that has a default configuration, you're going to get tar pitted, meaning that you're going to get stuck forever scanning through the manual pages. Basically, for every language there is, you're going to have a manual inside of Apache for that. So you're going to basically see like English, Danish, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, and so forth. And you're going to be scanning each of those directories over and over and over again, taking so much time to get through them. That's why I tell people to remove that, especially if you guys are doing the exam, right? You have 24 hours for the exam. Things take a while to scan. You don't want to waste time. So you want to basically be able to get through that. So definitely edit your word list, remove that. Also, possibly start with smaller word lists and then work your way up. Fingerprint the service and then decide which word list is going to work the best for you. Detecting hashes. Okay. So, a lot of you guys already know that we changed the security questions for the OSCP study group, if you guys are already a member there. For those who are not a member there and who are watching this video, or for those who would like to join there but haven't got past the security questions, I want to show you two tools that would be very helpful for you guys. And basically take some time to research and learn how to use some of these tools. So I'm going to jump over to my virtual machine real fast. So let's see if this works. Let's give it a second. Entire screen. And let's give that a second to pop up. So I'm going to jump over to my virtual machine. Okay. So let's say that you found a hash right out there, and you don't know what that hash is, but you want to try to figure out how to crack this hash, right? So there's two tools I'm going to show you right now. The first tool is hash identifier. The second tool is decode. Decode is a great tool because it can also identify the hash as well as crack the hash if it's crackable, if it knows what it is. So the first one we're going to look at is hash identifier. So what I have here is a hash I downloaded off the internet, right? So let's hit enter here. And basically all we're going to do is supply the hash. So we're going to paste this hash in. Now if you know that this was an MD5 hash right off the top of your head, you can basically paste this in here and it's going to tell you possible hashes, MD5, domain cache credentials. basically, this is an NTLM type hash that I found off the internet that we're looking at cracking, right? MD5 hash. So it tells me some information about this hash. So the next thing I can do is I can run another tool called decode. And I want to remove these so I can see what I'm typing. Okay, so if we run decode and we provide the hash, you can see basically it'll decode the hash as 1234, which is what the hash is decoded as. So for those who are looking at doing our chat to get into the Facebook group, or for those who are thinking about joining or doing any other type of challenges out there and you don't know what the hashes are, you can look at using these tools here to try to do that. I have a question that got posted. It says, hello sir, I'm a cybersecurity graduate student and wish to OSCP certified before 2019 ends. Do you recommend to jump in directly or prepare before you pay for the labs and the cost material? You definitely need to prepare for this. If you don't have a background and a base fundamental and methodology in pen testing, you're going to find it very frustrating and you're going to waste money. I find a lot of people get through the exam even though they don't have that methodology by several different flukes or different ways. I've seen people try to brute force the exam where they will take the exam multiple times until they see the same questions again and then pass that way. I see a lot of people waste time signing up for the labs that don't know how to do this stuff, that don't take time to read the book or watch the videos, that basically just ask a lot of questions in the forums. And by doing so, they are able to get through a lot of lab material, but they don't get the information they need to actually pass the exam. What I would suggest you look at doing is look at doing hack the box, start building up your methodology, be able to compromise most of those machines. Check out VulnHub, do a bunch of those machines. Both of those are free, cost you nothing, and have the same methodologies that you're going to build up to do the OSCP. I would also suggest, if you're looking at material to study and to understand, check out Georgia Weidman's book. Basically, what is her book called? Penetration Testing, A Hands-On Introduction to Hacking. So it's this book right here. If you purchase that book, it's really laid out very similar to the OSCP material. She talks about a lot of the same topics, and while a lot of the information in here may seem stagnant, you'll also notice the same with OSCP as well. However, even though some of the stuff is stagnant in OSCP, most companies, you'll still see these issues occur because companies cannot update their machines as fast as other like home users can do. So you're still going to run into companies that have XP installed and these older technologies, making them vulnerable to attacks. I can post a link to George's book. Let's see here. While I'm looking for this link, if anyone has any other questions, feel free to post them over into the chat. Let's see here. And I can definitely hear that there's the lag. All right, so log in here. We're looking for penetration testing. Now, if you guys buy her book, even though some of the stuff is outdated, you can go on to the URLs that are in the book, contact her. She'll send you a link to most of the working files that are that's not working or that you need access to. So that link right there is the book that I mentioned. Let's see here. What is the approach you use to find code execution on vulnerable web pages, and what advice would you give give someone pen test experience to move into a more red teaming job role? Okay. So what do I use to find code or vulnerabilities within web pages? There's two trains of thought there, right? So the first way is the everyday capture the flag type machines, the hack the boxes, the OSCP, and these other type of lab scenarios. 9 out of 10 times with those, you're scanning the application, you're fingerprinting that application, and that application has a well-known vulnerability that you can easily Google and find the exploit, right? That's probably the easiest way and what most of us are probably used to seeing. Now, in the real world, what do we see, right? We don't see TikiWiki usually installed on a site. We don't see WordPress 2.0 installed. We see a lot more secure systems out there. So one of the approaches we take is we basically do a lot of fuzzing of the web applications. We create custom scripts that will go out there and start fuzzing the input fields of these scripts, looking for vulnerable input injections, basically going through the OWASP top 10, looking for those type of attack vectors through different type of fuzzing scripts. Now, as well as doing that, what else can we do to try to figure this out? We also start looking at API calls. We're looking at functionality that's enabled. For example, SharePoint sites. A lot of SharePoint sites allow you to upload files to them by default. Now, if it's a SharePoint server and the admin didn't change the web config to disable the ability to add code blocks, now you can upload your own ASPX shells to the site and execute them there. So we're not only looking for vulnerable code within an application, but you're looking for misconfigured applications as well. Applications that are meant to allow you to do something, but the end user didn't really think about how to lock that down properly. You'll also find out a lot of this great information as you're doing scoping calls. If you're new to scoping calls, definitely do some research about some questions you should be asking during scoping calls. I find the more you ask questions during these calls, the more you learn about applications. One of my biggest things is I use scoping calls as a social engineering experiment. I basically ask questions that people don't usually hear, or if they give me a response to something, I usually try to dig deeper on that response. Try to get as much information out of them as possible about the application, because they may slip up and say, oh, by the way, we also have this other feature that's located at this site, and by doing this, you can do that. So I jot that stuff down, so while I'm doing the test, I can come back and look at that. Now, as far as getting to red teaming is a specialized field. When I first started getting into red teaming, my biggest issue with red teaming was I was so used to the side of pen testing, where you went in, you were noisy, you exploited things, and you got shells. With red teaming, you're going in, you're trying to stay as stealthy as possible, and you're really living off the land. You're not using all these crazy tools. You're not using Metasploit. You may be using Cobalt Strike a bit in your development, but a lot of this is basically living off the land, using built-in system functions, power scripts, things like that, to carry out your attacks and try to stay unnoticed as long as possible. And of course, it really will depend on your red team engagement as well, depending on what the task is at hand. So if you're looking at getting into red teaming, I definitely suggest checking out the MITRE framework, as well as Red Canary. Now, a lot of those tools are more blue team specific nowadays, and most of those attack vectors are easily identified by most blue teamers. However, that'll give you at least an idea, a checklist, a process to follow into red teaming to start getting your feet wet. Hello, Kumar, as well. Sorry if I pronounced this wrong. Manager Kumar. Hello, how you doing? All right, if anyone else has any questions, let me know. Any follow-up questions on the ones I already asked. All right. Let me see if I have other questions on my list. Another question I saw posted on the Facebook group is your layout for your cherry tree, right? Cherry Tree is a great application. I love using Cherry Tree. Unfortunately, the OSCP's VM is notorious for crashing and the possibility of losing your data. Make sure that you are backing that up. Anytime you do that, create your database, back up your database. Use Google Drive, use some type of backup software to back this up. However, what I do in here, let me hide that. Let's just go under Journal Tips, and let's just do New, add subnode, and I'm just going to do Rich Text for right now. So what I usually do is I usually do box name, box IP, interesting ports, And then once I start getting the interesting ports, I start doing further. Web enumeration, SMB enumeration, how to get user, how to get system. And basically, I use these as my main fields. And I start filling these in as I start getting the data. And then basically, I'll have all this information, all my screenshots already in this type of format, so I can go back and read through it and create my reports. Looks like we got a couple other questions here. Hi, Michael. I was recently approved on OSCP and was thinking about joining the bug bounty programs. Never met someone that works with that. Would you mind to share with me your thoughts on this? If you're doing bug bounties, make sure that you're working for a reputable bug bounty company that's actually going to pay you and that's actually allowed to be attacking those resources. You don't want one of these side companies where they don't actually have access to these machines and you're attacking machines, getting yourself in trouble. Bug bounty programs I've worked with before was, I think it's Bug Crowd. That's pretty good, as well as Synac. Synac is a very interesting company. They basically hire pretty much all their testers are outsourced bug bounty type people, and companies will pay them X amount of money to find vulnerabilities within their web applications. And what happens is, let's say I run company X, I will pay them $100,000 for one website. They will test that website throughout the year, and as vulnerabilities are found, based on the criticality level, they will pay out to that researcher that money. And anyone can participate in that. I think Synac actually requires valid identification forms and some other background checks, but definitely worth checking out. The one caveat with bug bounty programs is you're not going to find, 9 out of 10 times, you're not going to find low-hanging fruit in these type of programs. It's really going to be high-level stuff. Or harder to find items. So you're definitely going to spend a lot of time researching. If you're looking into bug bounties, I definitely suggest you look at learning about fuzzing and how to use fuzzers to generate the crashes and have them to reproduce those crashes. Any GXPN resources? Kumar, yes, definitely going to be posting some GXPN, some more GXPN videos. I strongly suggest, if you don't know assembly yet, you learn assembly. x86 is huge on the exam. Understand how x86 flows, how the stack works, how the heap works, how route works, how canaries works, things like that. That's a huge portion of the exam. That's the hardest portion of the exam, I should say, or the class itself. The first part of the exam, so like it's over 7 days. If you're doing the GXPN, that's one of SAN certifications for those who don't know. That certification is the advanced, basically the GAC, Advanced Exploit Developer Research, Advanced Pen Tester Research person. And what happens with that exam, it's 7 days, you go to the class. First day, you are doing network-based attacks, captive portal bypasses, using user agents and things like that, pass portals, and different other type of attacks on the network, how to bypass NAC and other network-type protections. Day 2, you're looking at Python. If you're not strong with Python yet, make sure you become very strong with Python. You're looking at using Scapy and fuzzers. You'll be using Sully Fuzzer. Sully Fuzzer is it looks simple to use. It's not that simple to use. It's very buggy. There's other tools out there that can help with that. So you'll be using Sully. You'll be doing a lot of fuzzing on day 2. Day 2 is actually Linux exploitation and gaining access to Windows machines, bypassing security settings on them. Day 3 was Python and Sully. Day 4 was Linux, buffer overflows and bypasses. Day 5 was Windows buffer overflow and bypasses. And Day 6 was the capture the flag. You'll learn a lot in that class. It's definitely a great class to take. I think now that I've taken that class, I'm going to look at doing the OSCE, as I said earlier. I will start posting some videos on that. I mentioned earlier on I did take some time off from uploading videos, about 3 weeks now. I've been traveling with the family, just taking time after doing these 2 large exams. Let's see. Anyone else have any other questions to post up? Hey guys, let me know what you think about the software I'm using too. I downloaded a new software called Ecamm Live, and it seems to be running pretty smooth. It's a slight delay. It allows a lot of additional features such as screen sharing, which I couldn't do before with the OBS or ODS, which made it really hard for me to share actually showing you guys tools. OSCP scanning tips. All right. For OSCP scan tips, I found. Let me jump over to my OSCP VM. How long is the GXPN? GXPN exam is 3 hours long. It's 60 questions. 55 of them are multiple choice. 5 of them are hands-on virtual machines. The class itself is 7 days, and it's only offered through SANS. You can always try to find the books online somewhere and basically pay I think it's a $1,000 challenge fee to take the exam without it. Yeah, the exam itself is 3 hours long, and you probably need the full 3 hours. The questions are pretty long. It was taking about a minute to a minute and a half to read the questions, let alone to answer the questions. It is an open book exam, and they do allow you time to. They do allow you to use your books to basically dog tag the pages, bring in extra material study. But you definitely should have a good grasp of it before jumping into it. For the scanning for the OSP, let me jump back over to my OSP VM here. And let me see if I can find some of my scanning I did. Okay. So this is one of my favorite commands I was using a lot. Let me kill that. And this is actually one of the machines on my network right now. So basically, I was running the default scripts, very robust, identifying the machines, and then basically scanning the IP address. These scans were pretty fast, gave me a lot of great enumeration information. And also I was able to output into an XML greppable format. And that greppable format allowed me then to basically pipe that into Searchsploit and other tools to quickly try to find vulnerabilities for that data. So that is one thing you can do, basically kind of semi-automating it using Searchsploit. I eventually moved away from running the scans myself, and I moved into using Auto Recon in the OSCP. Now, Auto Recon, let's see here, cd auto cd/root/tools auto recon. Let's see here, cd result. All right, I can share that one, 192.168.1.12, because that's my local machine. I can't share the other ones. CD scans. Okay. So when you run Auto Recon, it's going to dump out a bunch of text files like this. And it still requires you to dig through these text files. What I found very helpful with the Auto Recon was actually the what web to quickly identify the web server and the applications running on the website. That was very helpful. As well as using some of the other HTTP outputs, especially if it was a web application, quickly identify items, and then basically across the full TCP and then the UDP. Now, with that being said, having all this data here, it was a little harder to parse through the data in my mindset. Like, I'm used to seeing my Nmap scan up on my screen and then quickly reading through it. Here, I had to go to each file and cat the file and read the file. So in that caveat, I wasn't a fan of Auto Recon. I did talk to Tiberius about possibly adding some other. Oh, sorry guys, I thought I was screen sharing. Give me 1 second, bring this back up on my screen. Yes. So Auto Recon can be used on the exam as long as you don't enable the other functionality for this. Let me know if you guys can see my screen yet. I'm waiting for it to pop up. Let's give this a second to catch up. It looks like I'm still behind a little bit. All right. So I have it up on my screen right now. So the auto recon output, auto recon is allowed. You cannot automate it. So auto recon looks like they have the ability to exploit and loot. I didn't really dig deeper into those functionalities of it. It's on my list to look at, but I have not done it yet. So the one thing I would say, that, as I was saying earlier, the issues I had with this is I like to see it up on my screen, where here I had actually cat all the files and be able to read the files that way. Let me do a cat of one of these files. 80 HTTP what web. So basically, when you did that, you get output like this. Now, all Auto Recon is really doing is basically automating your mmap scan, your NICTO scanning, and some other functionalities. One thing I would like to see added into Auto Recon is like GoBuster scanning, some type of web enumeration scanning added into that. I think that would definitely be much better to see. Can we do Auto Recon? Yes, we can do Auto Recon in the exam. You guys should be able to see my screen. Yes, we can. Yep, okay. Any other questions you guys have? I'm going to give this a minute to catch up. See where you guys are at. Okay. See, any other questions around the OSCP, the GXPN, career, getting into InfoSec, or any other tools that I can give you guys any input on? Guys, if you guys find that this stuff is interesting or helpful, down below there is that super chat option. You guys can donate if you feel like it. You don't have to. Any funds I make off these things, I usually use towards new videos. I put it back into this to pay for video editing software or different labs. If dumps GoBuster commands in the manual commands file, it dumps. Okay, that's good to know. I haven't really edited a lot. Henry, the first time I used Auto Recon was actually the night before my exam. I downloaded it, installed it, quickly scanned my local machine just to see how it worked, make sure I had everything working, and then the next day I took my exam and ran it. And it was quite helpful during the exam. It was actually, they made the enumeration process much faster. I did have to do some additional web enumeration, as I said, but it was definitely, I think, a lifesaver. All right. Best resources to prepare for the OSCP. When you sign up for the OSCP, you actually have everything you need, to be honest, right? If you guys read the book, watch the videos, do the exercises, you're going to quickly notice that you're able to get through most of the labs pretty fast. You're going to get a lot of the lab machines compromised. I would say, other than the official material, definitely check out Georgia Weedman's book. I posted a link a little while ago. I'll post it again. If you're able to. If you guys have Humble Bumble accounts, you can usually get her book in that bundle with other books for like pennies on the dollar if you guys want to go that route, if you're digital readers. I need to have a physical copy in my hand. I have so many books on my iPad, I just don't ever read them. And my wife makes fun of me for not reading them. But hey, what are you going to do? Other resources I suggest, I do have a great series on YouTube about the OSCP. My thought process, I walk through the machines. Definitely make sure you guys are out there trying to accomplish other machines or compromise other machines. Do VulnHub, do Hack the Box. My first attempt at the OSCP was in 2017. I missed it by a few points then. I didn't read the book all the way. I watched all the videos. I didn't do the exercises. I went right into the labs. I was setting myself up for failure right off the bat, and I didn't know it. I found myself spending a lot of time in the forums, trying to look for hints, and that basically just burned my chances of passing. When I took the exam, I thought I was prepared, and a lot of stuff that I saw that I was able to get through in the labs, I couldn't get through in the exam. So that was an eye-opener. I took some time off. I continued doing my pen test jobs. I did a lot of Vuln Hub, a lot of Hack the Box. I think I did almost 300-something machines between my first attempt and my second attempt of compromised machines between those two. Once I was done compromising all those machines, I took the exam again. I actually finished the exam in less than 8 hours, my second attempt. I remember it runs the same commands each time to start a scan. Is there a way to script those? I'm not sure if you're talking about GoBuster, Henry, or if you're talking about Order Recon. I'm assuming Order Recon can be configured. I believe it's a Python script that can be altered. It's a Python 3 script. So there's probably some type of scanning you can modify in that script. There are several branches of Order Recon out there. Other people have cloned it and modified it to do what they wanted it to do. If you guys are interested in, if you guys know Python, right? There's a lot of stuff I would love to be able to do. It's a matter of having time to do it nowadays. Now that I have my exams done, I'm kind of thinking about trying to look at some other resources that I can basically do as side projects and things like that. If I run the similar commands each time I scan, is there a way to script the process of 2 or 3 commands? Yes. So if you're constantly running Nmap scans, you can either run like a shell script or a Python script if you want to do that. However, you can also create shortcut keys. You can basically use hotkeys or aliases in Linux. So you can create an alias that says like nmap1, and that'll run XYZ commands that you would normally do to basically parse that stuff out quickly for you. So you don't have to remember to do your whole nmap if you wanted to do something like that, Henry. Or you can look at just putting it into a bash script and looping it through that way as well. Hopefully that's what you were asking there. What are my thoughts on Recon Night script for enumeration? I have never used it, so I can't really tell you. There was another tool that came out before Order Recon that everyone was raving about. It was a Java-based GUI for scanning. I don't really remember the name of it. I hate tools that are developed in Java. I find them really buggy and really lacking in functionality. And that's just me. If you guys are Java developers, I don't want to bash that, but I am not a fan of security tools developed in Java. But I can add that to my list of tools to look at, the Recon Night. See what that looks like. All right. What else do you guys have going on? And you guys do Hack the Box, and you guys have teams out there. I've taken some time off Hack the Box. I'm planning to get back into Hack the Box. I do have a team. My team's been running without me now for the last few months. Hopefully I'll get back in and help them get back to the top of the leaderboards. We were in the top 100 of teams for the longest time. I'm not sure where we are nowadays. I have to jump in and look. Let's see here. I gotta approve that link. Coding Recon. Let's take a quick look at that. Actually, can I look at it on this screen? Let's see what happens if I click the link. Interesting. So I can't copy links in this software to my screen. I can do it on if I go directly to the internet. Okay. Looking at Recon Night. So what do they have? Basically, you're going to clone it. You're going to run your Python 3 setup pip. You got your help. You got your targets. You got your output, word list, ping sweep, DNS sweeps, SMP. Actually, that looks pretty cool. The one thing I did not find very helpful, if we're talking about enumeration, is I did not really find DNS enumeration very helpful in the OCP. Once I had the DNS servers, I was able to resolve DNS, which was great. So make sure that if you guys are doing the labs, make sure you find the DNS servers, know what the DNS servers are, and configure your Kali Linux box to use them. That would make a lot of the stuff you read or a lot of your other labs easier to do once you have those servers defined. I do like the fact that you're able to run like SMP sweeps right off the bat with this tool. Different host names, virtual hosts, things like that. I think those are all great functionalities of this script. Now, guys don't have to use these scripts that are out there. You don't have to use auto recon or anything like that. I know a lot of people are good at Python. A lot of people are good at Bash. You guys can script your own scripts. You can basically write a script that will take your mmap input and say, all right, if I see 80 and 443 open, kick off a separate thread and start doing web enumeration as well. So while that's still running your mmap scans, your script can basically have a multi-thread that separates and starts doing 80 and 443 scans. If it finds SMB open, it starts doing SMB enumeration and things like that. So as your scan's going, you're getting all these other areas scanned out and then basically come back into play at the end. Just something to think about. Let's see what else is up here. Any other questions you guys have that we normally see? Let me actually jump over to the Facebook page. Let's see. Well, still don't believe I passed. Yeah, so... Yeah, guys, if you guys take the OSCP and pass, feel free to post that in the chat room. We would love to see those who actually pass it. Also, remember, when you're looking for help on the OSCP, we're not the official OSCP chat group. Definitely go directly to the source. Go out to the website and seek their help. Now, you're going to get that try harder response from them unless there's truly an issue, right? If you're the only one experiencing the issue, they're going to basically shrug you off. For everyone that mom's experiencing an issue, most likely they already know there's an issue. But however, come out to the group. Feel free to share information. Now, some people may think we're dicks at times about how we moderate and how we try to keep things as professional as possible. We try to avoid people sharing information directly related to the course to avoid spoilers and avoid copyright infringements. So we are strict in that manner. How often do you come online so that we can connect with you? I'm probably online more times than I should be online. So do you have a Discord channel? I do not have a Discord channel. Well, that's a lie. I do have a Discord channel. I use Discord for red teaming. I am the red team lead for the Mid-Atlantic CCDC this year. So we do have a Discord channel for that. I don't use Discord otherwise. I don't really understand it well enough. I'm kind of slow to take on new technologies. I finally got my head grasped around Slack, and now all of a sudden everyone's using Discord. Like, what's going on with this? It's like too many different things for me to install and monitor. I am on Facebook. I don't accept friend requests on Facebook. If you want to message me on Facebook, I do check my messages on Facebook. I am on Twitter. So if you guys are on Twitter, feel free to at GenXWeb. You'll find me there. So at GenXWeb is my Twitter. I am on LinkedIn as well. What is my LinkedIn? And I should be able to... This is my LinkedIn. So if you guys see me on here, this is me. I do accept friend requests on LinkedIn. I've been using LinkedIn a little bit more just to keep it professional. I don't post often on LinkedIn. I do post a lot on Twitter. And everything on my Facebook page is locked down just to family. I don't really share anything that's worthwhile for you guys to even care about looking at on my Facebook page. So don't feel like you're missing anything, and don't feel offended when I don't accept your friend invites. Let's see what else is going on here. I got a couple messages popping up. If you do message me on Facebook, just give me a day or two to check my message requests so I can look at them. You can also post on my YouTube channel. Comment below on these videos. Comment on my community thread. I'll get notified as well through those means. All right. Any other questions you guys have? All right. So if there's no other questions, guys, I'm going to probably get this ready to wrap up so I can go pack. I am traveling again in the next couple of days. Actually, I see a couple of other questions just popped up. Sorry. Hi, Michael. What's the path after OSP? Any advice? What's the path after OSP? Any advice? Depends. Where are you at in your field? What do you want to be doing? I will tell you the OSP does not guarantee you a job. OSP is highly liked. A lot of people get it. There is definitely some negative taste about the OSCP because people have been caught cheating for that. So there's some negativity towards it right now. It's definitely getting a better name now. I can tell you I've interviewed a bunch of people in the last several years now that have OSCP, and not many of them knew how to do anything that was really related to the OSCP. So if you're doing OSCP, make sure that you're actually one of those people that do know what you're doing. Make sure you understand that material and that when you pass, you really earn that pass. Once you get the OSCP done, I would possibly look at where you want to be career-wise. Look for some open positions, possibly take the GPN, look at taking maybe the Pen Test Plus or something like that. It's really an open question about where you want to be, where you're at currently in your field. Kumar, what's up? What question do you have? For scanning ports, first we need to check the open ports and the aggressive scan, right? For scanning ports, first we need to check the open ports and the aggressive scan, right? Do we have a favorite resource for pen testing, AWS, Azure G Cloud, etc.? Kumar, for scanning ports, first we need to check the open ports and aggressive scans, right? I'm a little confused about that. For scanning, what I would say doing for scanning, if you're looking at saving time and like bandwidth, like use something fast, like Unicore scan or like a Python script. Basically, do a quick scan. One second, Razvan. I'll come back to that one in a second and why I mentioned Pen Test Plus. 1 second on that. For the scanning, I would use some type of quickly just identify open ports. That's a little bit faster to map. Once you identify the ports, then I would probably scan a little bit harder depending on your network load and the resources available to you. Razvan, sorry I'm mispronouncing that. For the Pen Test Plus, the only reason I mentioned that, I saw a couple of people recently post that they got that. And I started seeing some recruiters actually ask for that. It's definitely a step back. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to knock anyone's credentials. I don't want to say one certification is better than another. But you're correct. I kind of looked down a little bit on the CH and the Pen Test Plus programs. However, those programs have a role out there, hence why they exist. Now, as I said, I've recently seen several recruiters start asking for this. And it might just be another buzzword. Maybe that's why they're doing this all of a sudden. So, I'm not saying go ahead and go take the Pen Test Plus. It really depends on where you're at with your career. And opening a question about, like, where do you go after your OSP, right? Where I went after my OSP is probably not where you guys can go after your OSP, unless you're really into research and exploit development. That's why I went to the GXPN. I wanted a way to basically understand more how to write my own exploits and do some additional attack vectors. Rolex, hello. Michael, let's see here. Do you have any favorite resources for pen testing AWS and Azure G Cloud, etc.? AWS, there is a great book. What is that book's name? Give me 1 second. Let me find the name of the book. Alexa, shut up. Let's see here. Let me see if I find the book name. I'll tell you what that book is. Humble Bumble. I have all my Humble Bumble books out on my share so I can read them, which I never read. Okay. Pen Testing Azure Application. It's a book through No Starch Publishing. Great book for pen testing Azure applications. I know I say AWS, but that's for Azure. There's also a great PowerShell tools for Azure pen testing. Those tools are more around the actual administration functions than the actual applications running in that environment. As far as AWS goes, Burp Suite actually has quite a bit of great tools in there for testing AWS applications such as S3 buckets and other functions that I really like. A lot of the functions I really get to test a lot for cloud-based is really testing the end user application. Basically, the same type of environment that you would be testing as if you were testing any other web application out there or any other type of network application out there. Rarely do they give us the keys to the kingdom to say test our front end. But when we do, we look at those type of tools. Let's see what other questions we got going on here. Do you reckon just start with official? Okay, answer that one. Hi there. Yes. Do you mean like Burp Apps, BAPS? Yes, definitely, Michael. Check out the BAPS, the store, Burp Store, Burp Apps, BAPS. If you guys haven't checked out BAPS, or if you don't own a copy of Burp Professional, it's definitely worth the cost. I think I want to say it's like $300 a year for a copy of Burp Professional if you go out and buy it. Everything I do is professional, so everything I do is on the up and up. I don't copyright, I don't pirate things like that. And a lot of this tools are also free. It works on the free version, but you miss out some functionalities. My favorite app, my favorite Burp plugin is CO2. That has a lot of great functionality, especially for SQL mapping. It allows you to add a lot of great functionality to your Burp tool, and it's one of my favorite go-to tools. But definitely check out BAPS. Check out some of the AWS plugins for BAPS. If you use Fortify on Demand or any of the scanning functions, check out those plugins as well. For beginners, do you recommend just start with official PK coursework or get your hands dirty? Don't waste your money if you're a beginner. And when I say beginner, if you have never done pen testing before, if you have never owned a box from start to finish without asking for help, my personal opinion is you're not ready for the PWK, the coursework. The PWK is basically, they're going to give you a book, they're going to give you videos, and they're going to give you access to the lab. It's up to you of what you do from there. You need to be a self-motivator, ready to learn, and ready to challenge yourself and willing to do the research. If you're not, you're just going to get yourself extremely aggravated and not wanting to do it. Or you're going to get through it and not fully understand how you did it. Take the time. If you're really new at this is your first time compromising machines, hit Hack the Box. If you can start going through the Hack the Box machines without going to the forums to ask for help, without going to Discord channels asking for help, and you start compromising a lot of boxes there, check out VulnHub. Start stepping up your game to some harder boxes and things like that. Once you get through a bunch of VulnHub boxes, then reassess where you're at and then look at doing the PWK. And when you do the PWK, look at doing the full 90-day PWK. It's the best cost savings for you. You'll get a lot of time in the labs. Now, also when you're in the labs, take a break. Depending on your jobs, if you're in school, if you're working, I was lucky enough that my job allows me some time to actually do some studying during the day. But if you have a family, a job, and things like that, you're not going to get to use all 90 days. There's going to be days where family comes first, job comes first, and you're just not going to want to touch those labs. So you want the most bang for your buck, get the full 90 days. Rolex, may I know the pentest book you mentioned about Azure? Yes. The pentest book I mentioned about Azure is called, where is it? Pentesting Azure Applications. It is the definite guide to testing and securing deployments, and it's written by Matt Burrow, Burrogh. Let me see if I can find the book for you real fast, and I'll link it to you. Let's see here. Pen Testing Azure. We actually use this book quite a bit at work. We got this book and we started reading it, so we can start learning how to do this. Copy. Why is it not allowing me to copy this for you? Copy, jump over to YouTube, and paste. Azure. All right, there's the Azure link for you. Personally, after I finish my OSCP, I'm jumping to CCNA RS, aiming CCNA security, since I'm usually seeing the request in a few open positions, and it's something that I believe it can grant you. That's very interesting. You see that? I read not too long ago, a lot of the CCNA classes are going away. So keep an eye out on that as well, Paulo Henning. Make sure that that is still a relevant path for you moving forward. And keep an eye on what Cisco's doing, if they're going to continue offering those certifications. Any best resources for buffer overflows? Yes, I have a great video on buffer overflows. Pat myself on the back. Haha. Great resources for buffer overflows. Depending what you want to learn about buffer overflows. So the basic buffer overflows that you're going to learn in the OSCP are basically buffer overflows that have no type of security restrictions out there. You're not going to have to deal with canaries. You're not going to have to deal with restricted shell space for your code and things like that. For those type of buffer overflows, let me grab a link for you. Your channel. It's funny, I don't even know all my channel links. Videos, and let's click on videos. We're going to scroll down here. And I am looking for my brain pan video. Brain pan, part 3, part 2 buffer overflow, copy link address. There we go. Here is a great video on buffer overflows. This video will walk you exactly through step by step the same methodology that you're going to learn in the OSCP. Other great options for buffer overflows is to check out Georgia Weedman's book. She goes through the buffer overflows as well as I can't think of the name of the company right now that's out there. I will try to think about the company's name. I'll post the company's name later. There's a great company out there. There's a lot of stuff around buffer overflow, so I apologize. I just don't remember it right now. Cisco is merging all CCNAs into one. Okay, that's good to know. Sunbee, how well do we need to know assembly language and shell coding for OSCP? You really don't. For the OSCP, you're really not expected to know shell coding or assembly for the OSCP. However, you will need to know how to use tools such as NASM and Phantom to create your shell code and things like that. If you understand shell code a little more, it might make it a little bit easier so you know what you're looking at when you're looking in your Ollie debugger or any other debugging tool you're using. But for the exam itself, you really don't need it. Now, if you're doing the GXPN, you need to know assembly language. You need to know shell coding. If you don't, you may be miserable during those days of that class. What other questions are out there? Burp apps, yep. Okay. Let's actually see if I have that burp app installed. Is this my machine? Oops, wrong machine. Is OSCP alone enough to get an entry-level pen testing job? NASM. Let me type that in. NASM. I think that's how you spell it. Ziotic. It's definitely not enough to get an entry-level pen testing job. I was mentioning earlier that I have interviewed a lot of people over the last few years now. A lot of them have the OSCP, and a lot of them cannot answer the basic questions around web security testing, network type testing, which kind of gives the whole OSCP a bad name, right? I mentioned this earlier. If you're doing the OSCP, make sure you guys understand what you're doing, what you're understanding. make sure you understand the technologies. Don't just repeat the steps. Understand why things work, how they work. So when you get to these interviews, you're able to basically clearly and with authority explain why something's vulnerable or how you exploit something. Nothing like getting to exam to a interview with OSCP next to your name and not be able to answer simple questions. I'll give you an example. I had someone interviewing about a year ago, and basically I asked them to explain to me the best way to protect against stored cross-site scripting procedures. Stored cross-site scripting. And they couldn't tell me what stored cross-site scripting was, let alone how to protect against it. And they had OSCP next to their name. So, doesn't mean that you're definitely going to get a job. It really depends on your knowledge of that position, of those technologies. Oh, and I was going to mention something earlier too. Someone asked me about assembly language and books on assembly. And sorry, I'm on another machine pulling this stuff up too, so it runs a little bit faster. Assembly Linux Basic. What was that book called? Practical Binary Analysis. Practical Packet Analysis. Oh, the IDA Pro book. Android Security. Yeah, the Practical Binary Analysis book. That is a very good one for assembly language, as well as the Malware Analysis book and the IDA Pro book. Those three books will give you a lot of great information to assembly language. Zytec. Would you say OSCP plus CNA plus Sec plus is pretty solid combo? To be honest, probably not. OSCP plus CCNA, yeah, I could definitely see that as something very helpful. Security Plus, it's such a junior certification. It's kind of like below CEH. I think the OSCP and CCNA alone would probably be good enough. CCNA would definitely help you with a lot of the networking protocols, the background there. But, and the OSCP will definitely help you with the network testing and the network security testing, as well as the web application type testing. So those two alone probably can do it. If you already have the Sec Plus, it can't hurt. If I was to say the best combos currently for our market, if I was to and you guys can do this too, right? Do this for your own job marketplaces. Look up where you live and then basically type in something like top certifications for XYZ position, right? And Google will come back and tell you the results for your areas based on different metrics. The three top ones I see usually when I'm Googling this is the GPN, the OSCP, GXPN, and there was one other I've been seeing show up as well. What's the other one I've been seeing show up? It's a UK certification, kind of similar to the OSCP. I can't think of what it's called right now. However, those are the top ones I've been seeing show up for our field for pen testing, which are those ones. So yeah, if you have the OSCP, don't waste your time doing the Sec Plus. Skip that. Look at something. Look at something else. Look at doing the new advanced web application one, or it really depends where you want to be. If you want to be a straight pen tester doing network and web, figure out which certifications are going to get you the most bang for your buck if you want to do certifications. I think the new web application class they're offering is definitely worth checking out. If you're more into research and development, definitely check out the GXPN or the OSCE. This is actually live right now. Rod, yes it is. It's actually live right now. There is a slight delay of about a minute. Cyber Ops from Cisco has some great information for entry-level positions and it's DoD approved. There you go. Definitely a great resource there. If any of you guys are US based and still in school looking at doing cybersecurity, I would strongly suggest checking out the National CCDC, National Collegiate Cyber Defense Competitions. They do a lot of stuff for college students in our area. Let's see here. The cost is too much. I'm only 20 and don't have much money to pay for SAN certs. Zeotech, as you start getting to more jobs, that's something you should negotiate into your positions. John Finland. So the answer to Zeotech is how well you do in the interview. So the answer to Zeotech is, yeah, it really depends how well you do in the interview and actually what you're looking at doing. A lot of these questions are pretty open-ended. If you guys provide a little more detail, I probably can give you a little more guidance. And also, my guidance are really U.S.-based from what I'm seeing here in the U.S. I don't work overseas. CREST. Yes, CREST is definitely the certification I was talking about. I've been seeing a lot of companies offering that. A lot of U.S. companies here that have UK presence have been asking for that as well. All right. Nice information. Thanks for listening. Yep. All right. Any other questions you guys have coming in? Hey guys, if you're new to my channel, make sure that you guys subscribe to the channel and click the bell at the top there to stay updated when new videos come out. I'm hoping to get back into a normal schedule again, at least one up a week for you guys. Okay, so you're in the U.S. You're still in school. 20. Well, actually, are you still in school, Zeotech? Zeotech. Are you still in school? Or are you in school, I should say, not you're still in school. For beginners on OSCP, what is the first step should I start on? I'm mainly interested in your thoughts on GXPN from getting me ready for red team pen test standpoint. That's what I'm working towards. I'm not sure if GXPN is worth harassing my employer over. I'm not in college, no money. Okay. Okay. So let me take the GXPN one first. Actually, I'll do the beginners on OSP. What is your first step should I start on? I mentioned earlier someone else said that they're beginner and they're looking at doing the OSCP. If you have never done pen testing before, if you never compromised the machine, save your money, jump into Hack the Box, try Hack the Box first, try VulnHub, get a couple of machines under your belt, get your methodologies built up, get your hands dirty, and then once you do that, then jump into the OSCP, buy the 90-day lab, do the coursework first, do the reading, the video, the exercises, document them all, and go from there. Yeah. It's also said do not touch, exactly what Sunby just posted there. Don't touch the lab until you've done the coursework. In 2017, I did exactly opposite of what I'm telling you to do now. I jumped directly into the labs. I wasted a lot of time. I didn't read the book. I only watched the videos. I didn't do the exercises. And I missed passing. I got like 65 points or something. If I did the labs, I probably would have had the 70 pass then. I don't think I would have really learned a lot if I did it that way. I later on went back, restudied everything, and then I'm passing. Took the exam in less than 8 hours and passed. So make sure that you definitely read the book first, watch the videos, do the exercises. For the GXPN, A-Rod, if you are doing hardcore, when I say hardcore red teaming, I mean like you have no holds bar. You're able to actually take any application you find, disassemble it, and find buffer overflows in it, or find like near 0-day vulnerabilities, then the GXPN is probably what you want to use. Now, for the GXPN, also the network portion of that is definitely well worth red teaming as far as NAC bypasses go, captive portals, and security in that function. And as well as also developing your own tools and your exploits. I think that was great. Is this stuff that I get to use all the time in my red teaming? Probably not, but it's definitely well worth it. Jake Williams was my instructor. He gets to use this type of technology, these type of tools and technologies in his assessments. So it's definitely possible that you may run into this stuff. It really depends on what type of red teaming you're doing. I would, A-Rod, also there's several other classes out there being offered on red teaming. If you get out to Black Hat, the company used to be ADT, Advanced ADT. They merged with Raphael, the creator of Cobalt, to create a new company. But if you get out there, they offer a red teaming class as well that's really geared towards red teaming. That's much cheaper than doing the GXPN as well. Let's see what else we got going on here. Personally, I didn't touch the course material and passed the exam first attempt. Everyone's different. Some people get pretty easy tests as their tech, and they get through it. If you're that good that you're able to pass the first attempt, you should be able to look around for jobs. If you're not able to get through these interviews, try to ask for some feedback of where you're getting stuck. What you need to know to better yourself to get these jobs if you're having issues there. Just completed MS in cybersecurity, but no real job experience. Any advice? Man, getting a master's degree and then still having issues getting a job is a big fear of mine. Until I'm confident. Doing bone health 5+ years for it. Yeah. As far as the master's degree goes, I've been seeing a lot more companies start hiring college students directly out of school. It's a little bit more cost effective for them, and they're able to train those students up. So, John, if you're in the U.S., definitely check out some of the pharmaceutical companies. I know several of them that have started doing this. I can't mention any names on here, but definitely look into that. Definitely with a master's in cybersecurity, you should be able to look around and be able to find something out there. Unfortunately, with most things out there, you're probably going to start in a little bit lower and have to work your way up. Yep, so that's probably, that's probably how you got through the exam pretty fast, doing the Bone Hub and stuff like that, and Hack the Box. And as I said, most people, if you're doing those things a lot, if you're really studying and you're taking that initiative to do these type of boxes, you should have no problem with the OSCP. Hey Rod, I'm a threat hunter right now and I haven't looked for red team or pen test job. I might in a year or so need to get more legit. You're right, got to be able to kill it in interviews and stuff. Yeah, interviewing is the hardest thing. I have. Without sharing too much information because of employers, the biggest things I see with interviews is a lot of people's resumes are full of inaccuracies or more non-politically correct lies. Your resume should be an accurate description of your skills. If I see in your skills that you tell me that you are able to develop exploits on the fly, believe me, I'm going to get down in the weeds with you and ask you questions all around x86 and other technologies around buffer overflows and exploit development to see if you really know that. And if you don't, then I know that your resume is not correct or you were just adding a lot of fluff there. So make sure that your resume is an accurate representative of your skill set. Now, I've also seen resumes where I read it and I'm like, man, there's no way this guy is good for this job. I interviewed the person and I'm like, holy crap, I'm glad I interviewed you because I was going to pass you over because of your resume. So it's really hard to tell or judge a book by its cover based on the resume. You really need to give people a fair shake. If you think they may be good for the job, definitely give them the opportunity. If any of you guys on here are interviewers, definitely give the person a fair shake if you're able to and see what they have out there. Hey Rod, sold me on GXPN. I'll ask my employer for you after I finish Tech 542. Definitely. I would say Jake Williams was great for the GXPN. However, I think if I was to do it again, I think I would go with the creator. I think his name is Tim or Jim. I don't remember. Listen to his videos. I was definitely his MP3s was definitely more helpful than I think the class. Jake gave a lot of great real world advice during the class. It was definitely very helpful. Thanks for great advice. I just start my practice this week. Yes, definitely check out the Bone Hub boxes. There's a bunch of out there that are kind of like the OSCP. Kumar, to get into red team, what are the skills do we need to have? I would say any good red teamer is definitely going to be a great system administrator. They're going to understand the network and the network side and the operating system side inside and out. They're going to have great understanding of defenses out there. So any like previous blue team experience would definitely be helpful. And they're definitely going to have a lot of experience with compromising machines and using built-in tools to compromise machines. Early on, if you go back, probably go back about 5-6 years, maybe longer ago, John Strand originally came out with these crazy concepts of basically using built-in system commands. And a lot of people have done this since. But I think he was like one of the first people that came up with these concepts of living off the land and using these tools and basically hacking back and stuff like that. So definitely check stuff out like that. To get into red team awards, yeah, so I just mentioned that. When you say Phone Hub, author page is good for resume. It can't hurt. I say if you have any skills, hobbies, or things related to security in general, I would say put them somewhere on your resume. I've seen people put their personal blogs on there, their YouTube channels on there, their GitHub repos. But if you put it on your resume, believe it, I'm going to go there and look at them, and I'm going to do OSINT based off those links that I've read. So if you have something that you don't want people to find, maybe not post it on your resume. Did you say pharmaceutical companies? Yes. I worked for several large pharmaceutical companies here in the U.S. That have been doing a lot of direct college hires. So if you're looking at coming out of school with a master's degree, possibly look at these type of pharmaceutical companies and see what they have to offer as a possible option for you. Let's see here. I'm also dealing with some allergies, so I apologize. Where else are we at? A person didn't touch. Okay, so covered pretty much all those questions. As I was saying earlier, guys, if you're new to this channel and you haven't subscribed already, please make sure you subscribe and click the like button and the bell to be notified. If you guys find any of this stuff helpful, there is the donation option, which is not necessary, but definitely helpful. If there's any videos you guys like to see done, let me know. I'm always looking for new ideas for topics to cover. I do plan to do some videos around buffer overflows and stuff around the GXPN to get them up here. I do have a machine I'm building currently that I don't know if I'm going to release it Hack the Box or Vuln Hub. If I can get into Hack in the Box, I'll be pretty stoked. But that is probably about a month or two out to get that box finished and ready out there for testing. You think the CYSA Plus is worth it? I heard about that certification once before. I never really looked into it. CYSA Plus. Let's see what that is. CompTIA, get certified training, boot camp, blah, blah, blah. What is it? Why can't you just tell me what it is without me having to click your links? Cybersecurity and analysis. It really depends what you want to do, right? If you want to be a cybersecurity analyst, a threat hunter, a blue teamer, that may be a great intro for you to go that route. And it's actually cheaper than doing the SANS route. I have seen, what is his name? SANS just came out with a new blue team class that they're offering for people that are interested in that type of career path in blue teaming. So that's something as well. I know you said not really having the money is definitely restrictive to take these type classes, but any certification you get is definitely worth it. The thing is, you'll get a lot of great information. It's really how you use that information during your job interview to land that first job. You really can't expect to have no experience and jump right into the higher end jobs. You're going to have to work your way up in most scenarios to get these jobs that you're looking for. As I said, the Vuln Hub box create page. If you created a Vuln Hub machine, I would put that link on there. So Zyotech, if you created a Vuln Hub machine, do me a favor, post your link below. I will approve it to get posted. I would love to check out your virtual machine that you created and try to exploit it. So I'll do a video on that. That'll get you some, hopefully some positive publicity as well. Please make videos on red team basics as well. Definitely, I will try. I'm trying to build a little more of a enterprise environment lab where I can do stuff like that. The biggest thing right now is just really licensing with Windows and stuff like that and having those VMs spun up. So I am trying to focus on that as money allows. As I said, I usually use any type of money I get from this stuff to reinvest into learning to basically offer these type of videos towards people. You consider doing some videos from the point of view of the defense team conducting threat hunting. I don't specialize in the area, but I would not be opposed to doing so, and I definitely have a lot of people I can resource to do those type of videos. So if you're interested in those videos, I can reach out to a few of my friends, see if they're willing to either give me some information or shoot a video on my behalf or come to my house and do a live video or something like that for you guys. I'd be more than willing to talk to people about that. So I will make a note of that as well. John, no problem. If you have any questions or if you're trying to look around for positions, if you apply to any of those pharmaceutical companies, reach out to me on LinkedIn or something. I can probably put you in contact with some people if you find a position that's interesting to you. All right. Any other question you guys have? Man, this is a long live video. About an hour and a half so far. All right. So it looks like it kind of quieted down now. If no one else has any questions, I'm going to call it a night. I want to thank you guys all for joining me tonight. It was definitely a lot of fun. I like doing these things. If you guys like these live videos, let me know. As I said, give this video a thumbs up. There's about 20 of you guys on here. If you guys each gave it a thumbs up, that's very helpful. YouTube is very restrictive about these type of videos, us sharing this type of information. So if you guys like this, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and click that bell. I do this because it gives back to the community. It allows you guys to get some useful information. Hopefully it helps at least a few of you guys figure out where you want to go career-wise and give you guys some motivation to continue pushing through. All right, guys. Have a good night. I will talk to you guys later. Hopefully I'll have a video out for you guys next week. I'm going to take the family away on vacation tomorrow for a few days. So hopefully the following week I'll try to get a video up for you guys. Have a great night, and I look forward to see you guys next time.